Have you ever felt like something in your life is just off? Like no matter how hard you try, true peace and fulfillment seem just out of reach? Here's the surprising truth. Most of us spend our lives holding on to things that quietly drain us. Beliefs, habits, and even relationships that no longer serve who we're meant to become. But what if I told you that letting go of just 6 key things could completely transform your life? Today, I'm going to show you the 6 life-changing things spiritual people quit to awaken to their highest selves. And let me tell you, it's not always easy, but it's always worth it. We'll uncover the invisible chains of societal norms, the grip of toxic relationships, and even the fear of death itself. Along the way, you'll discover how releasing control and material attachments can lead to clarity, freedom, and a life of authenticity. Here's the kicker. This isn't just about spirituality. It's about taking back control of your life by letting go of what's holding you down. So, are you ready to break free and step into the version of yourself you've always been meant to be? Stick with me, and by the end of this journey, you'll see the world, and yourself, in a whole new light. It starts with a whisper, doesn't it? A subtle nudge, like life itself is tapping you on the shoulder, asking, "Is this all there is?" This is the moment of spiritual awakening, a quiet yet earth-shattering realization that everything you've ever known is up for questioning. It's not just about growth and clarity. It's about peeling back the layers society draped over you. Societal norms. They begin to feel like shackles rather than guides. Have you felt this tug, like the world and your very identity are asking for a reset? Imagine waking up one morning and sensing that something within you has shifted. It's not just another day. It's a call to transform. This transformation dismantles the illusions of control and certainty you once clung to. It's terrifying, and yet exhilarating. Your old self might resist, screaming for comfort in the familiar, but growth rarely comes from the comfort zone. Can you picture letting go of what no longer serves you, even if it means facing the unknown? At first, it feels like chaos. You start questioning everything. Your relationships, your habits, even your goals. This is where growth and clarity emerge. Like a sculptor chipping away at a block of marble, the process of spiritual awakening reveals your authentic self beneath layers of false identities. Think about it. How much of who you are was shaped by material attachments or the need for external validation? But here's the twist. This isn't just about breaking free from societal norms. It's about discovering who you are without them. Transformation is messy, like tearing down a house before building a palace. And let me tell you, that palace? It's worth the mess. Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, "I want to meet the real me"? That's where you're headed. Of course, fear sneaks in. Fear of losing what you know, fear of failure, even the fear of death itself. But what if I told you that fear is part of the awakening? It's a sign that you're alive, that you're growing. You don't need to fight it, just understand it. Let it teach you where you're still holding back. What would happen if you stopped running from fear and started learning from it instead? Here's a truth no one tells you. Transformation isn't linear. Some days, you'll feel like you're soaring, breaking free from toxic relationships or outdated patterns. Other days, you'll feel like you're crawling through mud. That's divine timing at work. It's not punishing you, it's preparing you. Can you trust the process, even when it feels painfully slow? And just when you think you've figured it all out, life throws another curveball. Why? Because spiritual awakening isn't a destination. It's a journey. Each step dismantles another layer of illusion, bringing you closer to inner peace. So here's my question for you. If this is just the beginning, what else might be waiting for you when you embrace the next stage? Why do we crave validation from others? It's like chasing shadows. No matter how many compliments or likes we gather, it never feels like enough. For those on a spiritual path, this realization hits hard. True worth doesn't come from applause or recognition. It comes from within. Letting go of this need is like breaking free from invisible chains. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to stop seeking approval altogether? Think about it. How much of your energy goes into pleasing others? Whether it's dressing a certain way, chasing achievements, or even dimming your light so others feel comfortable, the constant search for external validation is exhausting. But here's the kicker. No amount of external recognition will ever fill an internal void. The moment you realize this, everything changes. Are you ready to stop living for others and start living for yourself? It's not easy though, is it? Letting go of external validation feels like stepping off a cliff. The fear of rejection, of being misunderstood, is real. But here's the paradox. The more you try to fit in, the more you lose yourself. And when you finally embrace who you are, something magical happens. Authenticity attracts the right people into your life. Isn't that what you've been searching for all along? Let me ask you this. When was the last time you did something purely for you? Not for applause, not for a pat on the back, but because it aligned with your soul? Quitting external validation is about reclaiming that inner voice, the one drowned out by societal norms and the constant hum of opinions. It's time to listen to it again. Can you hear it? Here's a practical tip. Start small. The next time you make a decision, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for someone else's approval? You'll be surprised how often external validation creeps in. With practice, you'll start to recognize it, and more importantly, release it. What would your life look like if you stopped living for likes and started living for love? Of course, the journey isn't all smooth sailing. There will be moments of doubt when you miss the comfort of validation. But here's the truth. Self-worth built on external validation is like a house built on sand. It crumbles at the first sign of a storm. Real worth, that's unshakable. What could you achieve if you believed in yourself? No strings attached. And here's the twist. Quitting external validation doesn't just change how you see yourself, it changes how the world sees you. When you stand tall in your authenticity, people notice. You become magnetic, not because you're chasing attention, but because you're radiating inner peace and growth. So, the question is, are you ready to let go of what's holding you back and step into your true power? Have you ever noticed how society equates happiness with possessions? A bigger house, a nicer car, the latest gadget, it's an endless cycle. But here's the hard truth. Material attachments don't lead to fulfillment. They create a false sense of security, leaving us constantly chasing the next thing. Imagine stepping off that treadmill. What would life look like if you stopped measuring your worth by what you own? Letting go of material attachments doesn't mean abandoning everything you've worked for. It's about redefining wealth. True abundance isn't in objects. It's in experiences, connections, and a peaceful heart. Think about it. The things that bring you the most joy, are they bought with money, or do they come from something deeper? How much are you truly enjoying the things you've accumulated? Here's the catch. Material attachments aren't just physical. They're emotional. That favorite watch or piece of furniture often holds memories or represents an identity you're afraid to lose. But when you let go, you make room for something even greater. By simplifying your life, you gain clarity and freedom. What could you create with that space? Start small. Pick one thing, a piece of clothing you haven't worn in years, a gadget gathering dust, and ask yourself, does this serve me anymore? Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means freeing yourself from the weight of unnecessary baggage. What if decluttering your space was the first step toward decluttering your mind? It's not just about physical things, though. Material attachments can show up in how we define success. Is your self-worth tied to your job title, your income, or the number of zeros in your bank account? When you release these measures of success, you discover a deeper sense of purpose. Can you imagine defining your value by who you are, not what you have? Here's the irony. The less you're attached to material things, the more you attract. When your focus shifts from accumulation to alignment, opportunities flow. It's divine timing at work. You stop chasing and start receiving. Have you noticed how life tends to reward those who act from abundance rather than fear? Letting go of material attachments doesn't mean rejecting the material world. It means mastering it. You learn to appreciate what you have without being controlled by it. And as you do, you'll discover something profound. Inner peace isn't found in a shopping cart. So, what's the one thing you're ready to let go of today? Control. It feels like a safety net, doesn't it? We cling to plans, routines, and expectations, hoping they'll shield us from chaos. But here's the thing. Control is an illusion. Life's twists and turns are inevitable. When you release the need to control everything, you discover something incredible. Peace. So let me ask you, what's one area of your life where holding on too tightly is causing more harm than good? Think about it. How often does life surprise you, no matter how carefully you plan? That unexpected job opportunity, the serendipitous meeting, or even a sudden setback that turns into a blessing. These are all examples of divine timing. Releasing control doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting the flow. Could surrendering, just a little, bring you closer to your true path? Here's the paradox. The harder you try to control, the more stress you create. It's like holding onto water. It slips through your fingers no matter how tightly you grasp. But when you open your hands and let go, the water settles naturally. What might happen if you let go of the reins and let life guide you? Start with this exercise. The next time something doesn't go as planned, pause. Instead of reacting with frustration or fear, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? This simple shift changes everything. It's not about giving up power. It's about reclaiming peace. When you trust life's flow, even setbacks feel purposeful. Have you ever looked back and realized a disappointment was actually a blessing in disguise? Letting go of control isn't easy, though. Fear lurks behind the need to control. Fear of uncertainty, failure, or even rejection. But here's a thought. What if uncertainty wasn't the enemy? What if it was the very thing leading you to growth and clarity? How would your life change if you embraced uncertainty instead of fighting it? Releasing control doesn't mean living without intention. It means being flexible. Think of a river. It flows around obstacles without losing its direction. That's how life works when you trust it. When plans fall apart, something better often falls together. What if every no you face is just redirecting you to a bigger yes? Here's the twist. Letting go doesn't weaken you. It strengthens you. You stop wasting energy on what you can't change and start focusing on what truly matters. And as you do, you find yourself aligned with life's rhythm. So, here's my question. Are you ready to release the illusion of control and step into the flow of something greater? Relationships shape us, don't they? But not all of them help us grow. Toxic relationships, those that drain, belittle, or trap you, are like weeds choking a garden. The hardest part? Admitting they exist in your life. But here's the truth. You can't truly awaken or find inner peace while surrounded by toxicity. So, here's the question. Are your connections watering your roots, or are they stifling your growth? Toxic relationships often thrive on control, fear, and external validation. They keep you tethered to societal norms that don't align with your authentic self. Recognizing these dynamics can be painful, especially when the ties run deep. But imagine this. Every toxic bond you break frees up energy for something better. What would your life look like if you made room for relationships that uplift and inspire? Cutting ties isn't easy, is it? There's guilt, fear of loneliness, and even a sense of obligation. But staying in a toxic relationship costs you more than leaving ever will. Think of it like decluttering your soul. You're making space for connections that align with your journey. Can you feel the weight lifting at the thought of letting go? Here's a practical approach. Start by setting boundaries. Toxic relationships often cross lines, whether it's through constant negativity, manipulation, or lack of respect. By clearly defining your limits, you create a buffer. If someone can't respect those boundaries, it's a sign they don't respect you. What's one boundary you could set today to reclaim your peace? Letting go doesn't mean hate or resentment. It means choosing growth over stagnation. Forgiveness of them and yourself can be a powerful tool. It doesn't excuse their behavior. It releases you from its grip. When you forgive, you cut the energetic ties that keep you stuck. What if forgiveness was the key to unlocking your freedom? Here's the beauty of abandoning toxicity. It creates room for authenticity. Once you let go of what drains you, you attract people who align with your values and vision. These are the relationships that nurture your soul and support your transformation. Can you imagine what it would feel like to be surrounded by people who truly see and celebrate you? But here's the twist. Sometimes, the most toxic relationship is with yourself. Negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, and fear of change can be just as harmful as any external connection. So, I'll leave you with this. If you're ready to abandon toxic relationships, are you also ready to heal the relationship within? Have you ever felt like you're wearing a mask? Pretending to be someone you're not, just to fit in or avoid judgment. It's exhausting, isn't it? Embracing authenticity means peeling back those layers and letting the world see the real you. It's not about perfection. It's about truth. So let me ask you, who are you when no one else is watching? Authenticity is freedom. When you stop compromising your values and silencing your voice, life takes on a new vibrancy. You begin to align with your purpose, attracting people and opportunities that resonate with your true self. It's a transformation that starts within. But here's the challenge. Are you willing to risk rejection to live as your authentic self? The world often tells us to conform. Act like this, dress like that, don't rock the boat. But living authentically means breaking free from societal norms and choosing a path that feels right for you. It's not rebellion, it's liberation. Think of the moments in your life when you felt most alive. Were you following someone else's script or your own? Embracing authenticity doesn't happen overnight. Start small. Speak your truth in a conversation where you'd normally hold back. Wear something that feels like you, not what's trendy. Each step builds confidence, showing you that being yourself isn't just okay, it's powerful. What's one small way you can show up as your authentic self today? Of course, being authentic means facing fear. The fear of being misunderstood, judged, or even abandoned. But here's the twist. When you embrace your truth, you stop attracting people who only love your facade. Instead, you create space for relationships that honor your real self. Wouldn't it feel incredible to be loved for who you truly are? Authenticity is magnetic. It draws in opportunities and connections that align with your soul's purpose. But it also challenges you to shed what no longer fits: old habits, toxic relationships, and limiting beliefs. It's a process of constant refinement. Can you imagine how your life would look if every decision came from a place of truth? Here's the revelation. Embracing authenticity isn't just about you. When you show up as your true self, you inspire others to do the same. It's a ripple effect, creating a world where people feel safe to be real. So, the question is, are you ready to lead by example and step into the power of your true self? Let's be honest. Death is one of life's greatest unknowns. It's no wonder so many people fear it. But here's the thing. Fearing death robs you of living fully. When you stop seeing death as an end and start viewing it as a transition, life becomes richer, more vibrant. So let me ask you, what would change if you stopped fearing the inevitable? The fear of death often stems from the need for control. We cling to life, routines, and material attachments, hoping they'll shield us from impermanence. But what if life's beauty lies precisely in its impermanence? Think of the seasons. They don't mourn their passing. They simply transform. Could you see yourself as part of that cycle, constantly evolving? Spiritual awakening teaches us that death isn't the opposite of life, it's a part of it. Every breath, every moment, is a step closer to the unknown. But instead of dreading it, what if you celebrated it? By accepting death, you gain the courage to live with authenticity and purpose. What's one thing you would do differently if you weren't afraid of running out of time? Let's get practical. Reflect on your fears about death. Are they tied to unfinished goals, relationships, or regrets? If so, use that awareness as fuel. Start prioritizing what truly matters. Spend time with loved ones, pursue your passions, and release grudges. After all, isn't it better to focus on living fully than fearing what's beyond your control? Here's a thought that shifts everything. What if death is a doorway, not a wall? Many spiritual traditions speak of death as a return to source, a reunion with the divine. While we may not know what lies beyond, we do know this: life is a gift. And that gift becomes even more precious when we embrace its fleeting nature. Can you see how this perspective might bring peace? Letting go of the fear of death also means letting go of the fear of change. Just as life is transient, so are the challenges, joys, and experiences that shape it. When you stop resisting this flow, you start living in alignment with divine timing. What might you discover if you stopped fearing endings and started celebrating beginnings? And here's the ultimate twist. Quitting the fear of death isn't just about the end of life, it's about the end of anything that holds you back. Toxic relationships, societal norms, material attachments. Letting them die creates space for growth and clarity. So, here's my final question. If you released your fear of death, what else might you finally be free to let go of? So, what do you think? Are you ready to step into this transformation? Letting go of these 6 things isn't just about spiritual awakening. It's about reclaiming your power and finding a sense of peace that no one can take away. Imagine living a life where you're no longer held back by the weight of toxic relationships, the need for external validation, or the fear of death itself. Sounds liberating, doesn't it? Here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing, just one, that you're ready to quit today. Whether it's releasing control, simplifying material attachments, or setting a boundary in a toxic relationship, start small and watch the ripple effect it creates in your life. Remember, every step toward inner peace is a step toward your true self. And hey, if this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it too. Let's create a ripple of growth together. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights like this. I promise, we're just scratching the surface of what's possible. And if you're ready to take this journey deeper, click here to join me for the next step. I have a feeling it's exactly what you've been searching for. Because the truth is, life is too short to stay stuck. So, are you ready to let go and step into the life you deserve? Let's do this together.